You ever hear a ribbon snap like a gunshot and think, well, there goes 100 years of family history? Because that's what it sounded like the morning they cut the ribbon on my island. Cheers, glitter cannons, TV crews, and some dude spraying champagne all over the white sand I grew up on. I was 10 feet from the podium, salt wind slapping my face, standing there while bulldozers idled beside an infinity pool poured right over my wife's memorial. Yeah, let that sink in. The new HOA president, Linda Hale, basked in camera flashes, talking public paradise, while her security glared at me like I was trespassing on my own blood. And I just stood there quiet, pockets loaded with the deed, the real surveys, every ugly truth. They all thought I lost because I didn't make noise. But you ever see a tide turn overnight? Because sometimes it's not the water that moves, it's the ground under your $1,000,000 mistake. Before I go any deeper, drop your city and your local time down in the comments and subscribe if you've ever watched somebody steal what's yours with a smile. This is the part where you want to stick around for the twist. See, people think an island's just a postcard. Blue water, pretty sand, a little dock for the family boat. My father used to say, water remembers what men forget, and I thought that was just poetry until I started reading shorelines the way lawyers read contracts. Sand moves, grass creeps, the mean high water line drifts like a heartbeat, and if you don't chart it, your inheritance just becomes a rumor. My island sits a mile off the old harbor half-moon-shaped white beach, facing the mainland backside, all neon green marsh. The only real structure was a beat-up one-story cabin, wide porch, a brass plaque for my wife Caroline, mounted deep enough no hurricane could pry it loose. She used to name the pelicans. I kept one rocking chair empty in case my dad's ghost ever wanted to visit. When he passed, he left me two things, the deed and a waterproof journal with accretion underlined like it was holy writ. If you ever sell, he wrote, sell the air last. The deed was simple. Everything. The island grows, all accretions are yours. If the sea builds a new lip of land, you measure it, you document it, you make it yours. And I did for years. I'm an old coastal engineer by trade, tide gates, bulkheads, you name it. After Caroline died, I took early retirement, fixed up the dock, counted pelicans, drank too much coffee, figured I'd seen the worst life could offer. But you know what happens when you get comfortable? That's when the enemy shows up. Sandlass HOA, once a sleepy fishing town, now all custom mailboxes, thick bylaws, and a board that calls itself the Stewardship. They inherited a lake, some pocket parks, and a god complex. Linda Hale won the presidency, screaming coastal access for all members. Good with cameras talks like every word is a promise. We met once at a county meeting about inlet dredging. She glanced at my name tag, smiled with all teeth, and floated. So you're the gentleman with the island. Not a question, not friendly. The way a realtor says I'll find a buyer. No, ma'am, I said. The island is with me. She laughs. Deeds can be corrected. Yeah. That's when I made a note, update my survey this quarter. You know how the first real trespass always announces itself in the sound. Flat barge chugging into my inlet, too heavy, too sure of itself. I was out on my dock, thermos in hand, when Sunrise Construction Blue Harbor Resorts landed like they owned the place. Foreman hopped out, clipboard, crumpled map, pink highlighter bleeding over my island. We're here to stake the pier, he says, like he's delivering a pizza. For what I ask. HOA member access, public amenity. I tell him this is private land. He waves his paperwork, quit claim deed, recorded last week, says the association owns it now. You ever feel your heart just slide sideways? That's what it was like. Call the office if you want to, he says. We've got a ribbon to make. For about 9 seconds, I thought about doing something stupid, cutting lines, spiking tires, swinging the oar. But then my dad's handwriting came back. Water remembers. So I took a breath, snapped photos, pulled out my drone and those survey markers. Next came the games, certified letters code violations, community updates, painting me as the villain. They sent a code officer to measure my mailbox, a volunteer with a body cam bumbling through my mangroves. They weren't trying to win. They were trying to tire me out, catch me slipping. So I did the opposite. Cameras everywhere. Dash cam in my skiff. Drone flights every morning capturing every delivery, every pallet of lumber. When they brought the bulldozer and pushed right through my wife's plaque, I didn't yell. I hit record. I went inside, found Caroline's picture and said, "Sorry, I tried to talk to wolves. She would have laughed." Said, "About time you got stubborn." By week's end, they hung a vinyl banner over the barge Sandlass Shores. Boardwalk, shiny lodge, all built on ground they never bothered to own. That's when I hit the county office, asked for the quitclaim. The deed had my parcel, my signature. Only it wasn't my signature. The clerk, she just gives me that look, storm's coming. We don't validate, we just record, she says, but points me to the notary log. UPS store closed that Sunday. Manager lets me snap a photo of a blank entry, proof it never happened. I wrote 3 letters, HOA, cease, and preserve documents. Blue Harbor title defect, build at your own risk. Myself a note, never say a sentence I wouldn't want read in court. On day 10, Linda arrives in linen, hands me a license agreement naming rights to the Pier Caroline's Walk. I stare her down. Your problem isn't access. It's the tide. People like her hate metaphors, they can't file them. That night I mapped out 5 years of drone photos, charted the mean high water line, found the accreted spit the county's lazy plat ignored, started drafting my quiet title suit in my head while the generator hummed and party lights flickered across a carnival built on my bones. Every carelessness, every concrete wash into the marsh, every illegal offload went into my files. A state biologist visits snaps photos of nesting data under the new pool. You want to win against bullies. Stack facts. When the HOA tried to fine me for aggressive navigation, for debris, for blocking amenity access, I logged every letter, every page, every envelope. The smear campaign hit newsletters calling me a squatter, lying about my conduct. Code enforcement volunteers with body cams, they all walked away with footage of me saying, "Please put your questions in writing." The quiet makes them crazy. Meanwhile, allies show up. Harbor master tips me on supply barge arrivals. County surveyor agrees the plat's junk. A retired judge next door pours me bourbon, teaches me to write a complaint like a novel. The HOA speeds up construction, throws a community day, gets TV coverage. I film every violation, every pennant driven into protected seagrass, every kid in a branded T-shirt. Then a member leaks an email, treasurer panicking about fines. Linda's reply, "We will not blink." That one I print and tape above the sink. The hearing comes. The court smells like old wax and new nerves. Blue Harbor's lawyers bark about economic harm. I walk the judge through the rope deed to deed accreted spit notary log proving Sunday was a lie. The judge grants the injunction, halts construction bars, occupancy orders, document preservation. The bank freezes Blue Harbor's money. The insurer issues a reservation of rights letter. HOA's newsletter spins it as a temporary pause. Commenters start asking who voted. Admins turn off comments. Over weeks, Discovery uncovers group chats, PR drafts, doctored footage. The judge sees it all. The surveyor redraws the lines, the pool, the villas, the pier, all on my accreted land or below the mean high water line. Court schedules, damages, unjust enrichment attorney's fees. The bank calls, wants to talk. I hand them my terms, void the annexation, return the land, restore the marsh, rebuild the memorial in stone, HOA board resignations, true votes, public boardwalk. The developer blanches. The insurer counts their abacus. And believe it or not, the solution ends up better than any courtroom. The villas turn into research housing, the pool becomes diver training, the piers an observation deck. Caroline's memorial sits in a garden where kids now learn how to read the tides. The HOA votes in new leadership, finally reads their own bylaws. The new president opens the first real meeting with, "We own only what we own." I sign the ground lease with my father's pen. The reserve funds restore everything that matters. My attorney's fees become a receipt, not a trophy. The tide like the law moves slow, but it always leaves a line. Linda, stripped of linen and cameras, reads the sign about accretion. I didn't know, she says. You do now, I answer. People learn if you give them the right invoice. The new sign on the mainland points to the reserve. The old pool holds students and biologists. The sunset's quieter, and the ledger of the island reads warmer, fewer invoices, more vows. I keep the old rider about fixtures and consent under glass, a warning for the next person who tries to draw a straight line over water. When I ring the ship's bell for everyone who helped me hold the line, I ring one more time for Caroline. So here's my question for you. What line are you holding in your own life? Tell me your city, your story. Drop your thoughts below. Subscribe for more HOA Justice Tales. And remember, mercy means more when you could have crushed someone and chose to teach instead. Patience is a win every single time.